Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast. And it is hard to believe this is the end of 2025. This is the final episode for this year. So, Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy holidays. It's been a great year for this podcast. I just want to say thank you, first of all, to all the past guests, to all those who continue to show up to listen to this podcast. I know each and every one of you probably consumes your content in a different way. So, whether it's via the audio podcast on YouTube or listening to the information via Reels on Shorts or on Instagram and Facebook. So I really appreciate you. I really appreciate all the feedback. I'm still shocked at times the people that have come up to me and say, I really appreciate that content you made. Those financial topics that you're discussing are really important and they're spot on. And I'm always in shock, like, okay, I didn't even know you listened or that you were following me, number one. So I appreciate that feedback. I appreciate those that continue to pour into this podcast. I would say that probably the key word for this past year has been collaboration. It's really, I've seen this podcast transform or progress from potential to purpose. And I think that's the goal, or that's kind of a dream in many stages in life, is to go from potential to purpose, because you don't want to be that person. It's fine to have potential when you're 10 or even when you're in high school or young in your career, but you want to one day progress from potential to purpose, because potential is, to me, a lot of stored up energy. Potential is a lot of possibilities versus purpose is when you are actually starting to execute and actually starting to be effective in making the impact that you want to make on others and on yourself and on the world. So it's been exciting watching everything develop. Many of the contacts and relationships that I had over this last year, truthfully, I didn't even know they existed before, or they weren't even on my radar this time last year to say, hey, I want to collaborate with X, company. I want to be a brand ambassador for Pattern Insurance. I want to be a brand partner for Braveling Global. None of this was on the radar a year ago. HBCU End Zone, didn't even know it existed. Now I'm a board member. We will talk more about HBCU End Zone as we start the year in 2026. So there's some really exciting things coming down the pipe with that. But yeah, so this year has been great, just from some personal goals, some personal growth, also for my family, seeing my kids continue to develop. It's been a time also of transition in my family. We'll talk more about that as it develops in early 2026. But I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. And I'm very thankful for it. So I hope each and every one of you during this holiday season will be able to just reflect and look back. I really plan to unplug over the next 2 weeks to reflect, refresh, and just kind of regroup and get ready to start a new year. So what we tend to do on this podcast, I'll play the most popular episode from the past year, and we'll do the same this time. I feel this episode embodies a lot of the things I just discussed about going from potential to purpose, not being stuck in a box, not letting the title that you carry professionally define who you are as a person. So this episode, I think everyone will get something of it, or I want you to listen to it and kind of place yourself in that role, because we probably all have come to a transition point in our careers where you're like, is this it? What's next? So some of you might be at that place right now. So hopefully this will encourage you. Once again, happy holidays to each and every one of you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I'll see you in 2026. Peace.
And I always tell people when they tell me they're too busy for this, I ask them to screenshot their screen time on their iPhone. It'll tell you how many hours a day you're spending on your phone. And so we have this perception that we don't have any time, but really we're just filling it a lot of times with nonsense and scrolling and Netflix and Hulu and all of the subscriptions and just things that don't bring us value. And so when you really do shift that time of scrolling and consuming content and consuming worthless television and things like that, you really can make leaps and bounds in other areas of your life, whether that just be personal development, reading, whatever that may be, or a business like this. You really can maximize your 24 hours when you actually look at how you're spending it right now and then redelegate to the things that are most important to you.
Bigger impacts of traveling really come from pushing yourself into these unknown environments, into these unfamiliar and uncomfortable environments. so many benefits that I see from traveling that it's really hard to translate to share.
I think the best way to sum it up is that if you are not mentally healthy, you're not going to perform at your best. And so taking the time to work on your own mental health and well-being will in turn help you perform better, whether that's on a quarter field, at work, in school, at home, managing your family. All of those things are impacted by how you're feeling as a person inside. And so the more mentally healthy you can be, the better you can show up for everyone around you.
If the athlete is not willing to do the hard work of rehab, he's going to remain stiff and weak and unable to perform to the top of his ability. So one of the most frequent questions I get is, Doc, when will he be ready to go back to play? And they want a straightforward answer, and it's definitely more complicated than that. I can tell you in this time frame you should be getting better, but if you're not showing up to do the work, to do the rehab, to strengthen your muscles, to get back to the point so if I put you in the game, you don't return to me injured again. So I can imagine that when I was going through the struggles of trying to pass this test, and I was praying to God, Lord, please just let this test pass me, Lord. Please put me back. My career is in jeopardy. That he was looking at me saying, son, you're worried about this test, but I'm worried about your life. I'm worried about when are you going to do the therapy to fix your brokenness, to fix your self-control, to fix all the things that you need, because I have a blessing for you that I need you to be ready for.
You're not going to do whatever it is that you're doing for like the end of days until you die. Certainly not at the same level, number one. Number two, what you're doing, what you're high performing at might have to change and switch at some point in time. And that's okay. You know, it didn't make you you. You were doing well at that thing because you're who you already are. And you have to know that about yourself. One, because that's going to help you to perform better, but also because then you don't feel like you've lost yourself if something has to change. If there's one thing that I definitely want for athletes and other high performers to remember is that when that time comes for this to no longer be the thing that you're high performing in, it doesn't change who you are. And you were doing well and you were great because you're you, not because of how well you were doing at that thing. Even if other people would have you think that your worth is tied to that, it's not.
So I'm very grateful for all those opportunities. But as new doors start to open and new doors start to shift, and as people recognize really a brand that, oh, you'll be perfect for this role because of your brand. You'll be perfect for this role because of your public speaking. You'll be perfect for this role because of your podcast. And I just say that because what you're starting now, the way it's going to look in 5 years is totally different. And the things that you're thinking about now, there's so many opportunities that it's impossible for you to even know about because you have not seen it yet. So continue to put one foot in front of the other. Continue to do the little things. Continue to be disciplined in the little things, or to be a good steward over the little things, because sometimes it's just a test to see if you're going to be able to be diligent, to show up, to do the work. And then once you'll do that, many other doors will open.
The human body is so, it can adapt to change, and it can do, way more than people think. And so I think, that would be my challenge to anyone listening or anyone who reads this book. Next time you're doing something, kind of try to separate the two. What is my mind telling me? What's my body? And, always try to go one more.
And if you do that one more enough, you'll be surprised how far that'll take you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know just from, starting my running journey, coming from being a football player and being, 250, 6'5", not the ideal build for a runner. But at the same time, I started out and, I told myself, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do 3 miles. And then, 4 miles seems kind of far, and 5, and then you keep working up the ladder. And, here I am at 10 miles, and, you're looking for more. So, you can always go that extra step and just, keep pushing yourself.
Are you a young physician who's frustrated in figuring out how you're going to continue to fund yourself through this early phase of your career? Are you tired of speaking to lenders who do not understand your plight? We have a solution for you. Let me introduce you to Doc2Doc Lending.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Zawadi Marshall, co-founder, CEO of Doc2Doc Lending. We are the exclusive lending partner for physicians and dentists in the United States. We underwrite our loans thoughtfully, knowing the physician journey and your career trajectory. We're a company that's been founded by doctors and built for doctors. because we get it. Banks don't understand all the ways in which we struggle through educational debt, consumer debt, as we're trying to make ends meet during a very challenging time of our lives. Doc2Doc is underwritten with thoughtful process that's meant to give you credit for all the unique physician characteristics that you have, like being board certified, having a dual degree, undergoing and finishing a specialty or a fellowship as well, and just being employed as a physician. All of those things give you credit to get your interest rate lower with our platform.
So we are glad to partner with Doc2Doc Lending. So if you are stuck trying to figure out where you can get funding or where you can continue to support your family during this time of transition in your career, we offer you a solution. Doc2Doc Lending, physician owned, understands your plight, understands what it's like to be an early physician or a physician who wants to do something outside of medicine. Check out Doc2Doc Lending.
This segment is a paid advertisement for Doc2Doc Lending, Inc. Loans are made available by DR Bank, member FDIC, and are subject to credit approval and available in approved states only. Representative APRs for Doc2Doc range from 9.99% to 26.99%. Terms and conditions available at doc2doclending.com.
Why not use something natural to help and continue to help him be better and do better and have agility? Just the stairs, just the people don't understand just the simple act of walking up and down the stairs and how he was holding on for dear life on the rail. And I have a gate belt around him holding, like, to get him up and down the stairs just to transfer, or getting him in and out of the car. It's definitely something that's been life-changing for us. And for some reason in society, people don't want to hear life-changing. They think it's a scam. They think it's, this, because there's so much out there that take this and it's going to do this. And so we have to be careful with what's claimed, but we know what's real and what's not real. And so we're thankful for the products for our family and that we can share it with others.
When you told me you were going to Howard University, I'm thinking, and you were going to another HBCU farther away from home than you had been, that for me was another tough decision. I didn't have any decision on it. You were making that decision on your own at that time. But it was tough for me knowing that you were getting even further from home. Each time you were moving, it was further from home. But the consolation there was that you had gone through 4 years of undergrad and you did well. So we said, hey, he's on his own now. So it's just another place to visit.
Right.
So we just started going whenever we could. We come to visit there. But I was relieved that you had graduated and did well at Xavier. Mm-hmm. So I felt more assured that you could do this now.
You've heard a lot about public service loan forgiveness, the PSLF programs that are out there, and there have been changes to that as well. But do know that this is still in effect. If you are employed by a nonprofit or a government hospital, which is what most residency programs are, you can get into a qualifying repayment plan, either IBR or pay, that counts those years while you're in residency and or fellowship against the 120 months of on-time payments that's needed for you to have an eventual forgiveness. There are caveats to all this, so speak to a professional, but think about these things as you go into that meeting around what options do I have if I'm going to be doing a 6-year residency and a 3-year fellowship. That's 9 years. You've got 1 year left to possibly have those loans forgiven.
I'll tell athletes, it doesn't matter how well I do your surgery. If you don't do your part, you're going to remain weak and you're not going to be able to protect your knee when you go back to play. So really, once you get to a certain point in your rehab, about 6 months out, it's more about, are you ready to go back? And we look at certain metrics about, hops, jumps, your stability, your strength compared to the other leg, to try to say, okay, are you ready? Can you protect your knee? Because one thing is to be back on the field, but to really be back 100% and be back to the point where you're not thinking about your knee. So many times the athletes, one reason why some athletes don't go back is the mental part of it. The fear of re-injury is real. So the fear of re-injury is one of the main quoted factors for why some athletes just say, I'm done, So that's another part of the mental struggle for an athlete coming back from a major injury.
We've worked incredibly hard over the course of our lives to get to where we got to as physicians. And that journey, that sojourn is marred in adversity. There's board exams, there are organic chemistry tests, there's tap dancing on the wards to impress your seniors and the attendings. There's social intelligence, there's actual intellectual intelligence and test taking rigor, and just the grit of knowing what it's like to be up for 24 plus hours and still make decisions. That journey is an armor that should make you feel unafraid to take risks because you know how to work hard and you know what it's like to have grit to push through things. And there are few things that are as hard as becoming a doctor in our educational system. And so think of that idea, that entrepreneurial venture, as another way to scratch an itch that you might have in terms of what fulfills your life, and just taking the leap and trusting yourself to be able to kind of persevere through whatever the challenges are. I'd say start there.
Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a 5-star review. And if you haven't done so, subscribe so you continue to get the updated episodes. Until later, peace.
Hey, time out with the sports doc. Keep our head right in the game. We ain't never stopping. You are now tuned in. Trust you don't want to miss. This is where life, sports, and medicine